Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome here as we get ready in the continuation of the chase towards the chase for the championship. 3 more races remain before we find out the 16 drivers that will battle in 4 championship rounds to become the Season 2 Hersheys Cup Series champion. And we are here at race number 24 at the road course of Mid Ohio. Now, if there's any indication in knockout qualifying of what kind of racing, what kind of speeds, and just how difficult this track is going to be, we are in for one really exciting race. There'll be 20 laps caution-free, same as it was last week at Yas Marina Circuit. Chris Dodd and Carson Scott, they are the front row. The two of them had to go head-to-head in a tiebreaker 4th round in knockout qualifying to be able to determine who would start in the pole. Chris Dodd winning out. He will start on his first pole of the season alongside of the 38 of Carson Scott, who has a win this season at a road course. That was back at Infineon, so we'll see if he can pick up his second road course win of the season. Marty Johnson still looking for his first win of the year here, as he'll roll off in third, and Kyle Matthews trying to get back to victory lane. He hasn't been there since the season opener Daytona 500, and he'd love to be able to add a road course to his resume. Maybe not really that important, but we actually have a tie for the overall points lead as well between Kyle Matthews and Brandon Gonzalez, and the defending champion of this series, Anthony McCurry, is 14 points back of those two, third in the championship or in the standings right now. Not really what we kind of focus on here, getting close to the end of the regular season, but just a little side note there, and we'll see if they start battling each other here on track. We also have another couple of announcements, but we're going to get to them in just a minute. Instead, we're first going to go down trackside and get the command to fire them up here today at Mid Ohio.
Drivers, start your engines!
So there's the command, very enthusiastic command, and certainly tells the excitement that is here at this racetrack, making its debut on the Hersheys Cup Series schedule. Now, the other story that I wanted to cover here is last week we had Zach Flickinger go to victory lane for the second time in his Hersheys Cup Series career, but first time this season. He is inside the top 30 in the point standings, and as you can see after the starting grid on the right side of your screen, that the 16 drivers chase grid right now is filled up of 16 different race winners. So, if we have a 17th different race winner that's inside the top 30 in the point standings go to victory lane here today, that means that one driver at the end of this race with a win would be eliminated from competing for the championship. We've got 3 more races, and if we have 3 more different race winners this season, it's going to come down pretty much to who is highest in the point standings with a win, to who's going to make this season's chase for the championship. It's going to get really, really close. Another thing you see there is your chase towards the top 30 in points. Of course, the 2 drivers taking part in that 2-time winner this season, Joshua Sekuli, and our Pocono race winner, Kyle Keith. Now, Kyle Keith, unfortunately, for the first time in several weeks, is not in this field. So he is really going to take a hit in the point standings. It's really going to hinder his progress towards trying to get to the top 30 in points. And Joshua Sekuli, he did make this race, but he's not faring too much better. He's starting 38th of the 39 drivers in this starting grid. So both those drivers, they've got a lot of work to do in the upcoming couple of weeks. I'm telling you what, as the weeks continue to tick away here, and the chase week, when the chase begins, draws even closer, it's looking more and more dismal for those 2 drivers in trying to get into the chase for the championship. So we'll see what takes place in this one. And I'll tell you what, Yas Marina Circuit, they took the green flag, and we saw them going 5 wide at a road course. There's not enough room for 5 wide here, but I wouldn't be surprised if they try something like that in the start of this race when it's the closest you'll be to probably another competitor. We'll see what kind of racing there will be. 20 laps, no cautions, whatever happens, happens. Wrecks take place, doesn't matter. There'll be local yellows, but no full course caution flags. As I said, first time this track is debuting in the Hersheys Cup Series schedule, so a lot of unknowns about this racetrack, one of them being where is the best passing areas. We saw about 2 or 3 good passing areas last week at Yas Marina Circuit, but we kind of knew about them because Yas Marina Circuit was on the Season 1 Hersheys Cup Series schedule. But this week at Mid Ohio, we're left with a complete blank slate on what to expect. One thing we can expect we're about to get the green flag and we're about to go racing. Chris Dodd and Carson Scott will bring us down. Green flag is waving and we're underway at Mid Ohio. And they already looked like they were going 3 wide back there. They are. Kat Tellier, Brandon Gonzalez, they're going 3 wide. And some drivers already off track. Zachary Fitzwater, that's Garrett Sidner spinning there on the right side. James Richardson also went off track. And there's another car spinning back there. I couldn't tell who it was. It might have been Fitzwater again as they come through this part. Off track goes Dallas McIntosh, but he hangs onto it. We're going to jump back here. Oh, Joshua Sekuli's already on pit road. Benjamin Miles has got damage. Michael Norman, Zachary Fitzwater, Voiles, Levi McIntyre, Joseph Srigley, and Dylan Poteet. Up into this part of the racetrack. This part is treacherous. Oh, John Arndt just got forced off. As did Brandon Gonzalez. There goes William Brock, Galligan, Kat Tellier. Mongold is off track. I told you, it's going to be chaotic here at the start. There's no doubt about that. Things may settle out, but not right now when you've got the prime opportunity to pick up as many positions as possible on track. And oh, Grayson Acevedo nearly got forced off the racetrack there. But all this going on behind race leader Chris Dodd. Kyle Matthews slipped into second. Carson Scott now back into third. Marty Johnson in fourth. There's Sekuli. Boy, his hopes of making the chase just getting even bleaker here. Michael Norman, there's Fitzwater, Poteet, Srigley, McIntyre, all damaged. Sidner looks like he's continuing on. But he's got rear end damage. Front end and rear end damage on Benjamin Miles. Kat Tellier's got right side damage. And here's some cars on pit road. Sanford's on pit road. Shelton, Daniel Voiles hitting the pit lane. Yeah, Jessica Shelton, a lot of front end damage on her car. Her teammate Charles Sanford went to victory lane a couple weeks ago, and oh, looks like Miles and Sanford didn't get into their pit stalls correctly. Oh, they're going to get through this turn okay. Couple drivers off track. Tim Walsh is spun. Cody Lamas, Joshua Michaels, Mongold, Richardson having to go through the grass to be able to avoid. And Cole Baker, where is he going? Anthony McCurry is smoking. Third in the points. The 61 defending champion, runner-up last week at Yas Marina Circuit. He is smoking, and it looks like his day may be over. Another car smoking. That's Tim Walsh, who we saw spinning out. Cole Baker's gotten back on track. Oh, there goes John Arndt. I think he might have run into the back of Anthony McCurry. And McCurry driving in the grass. We're concentrating more on the rear of the field than we are at the front, because at the front, they basically got it settled out. At the back's where all the mayhem's happening. But Chris Dodd leading the way. And we should probably bring up the ticker here, too. That would be a great idea. Look at all the cars on pit road. I see Poteet, Circuli, Voiles, McIntyre, Sanford, Norman, Miles, Shelton. I don't know if anybody's retired yet. Yes, first car out of the race is going to be the 05 of Joseph Srigley. Chris Dodd's got a lot going on behind him. Third place Carson Scott on back. This is a pretty good battle. Marty Johnson there along with John Gilbert. There's Emmanuel Hartnett in the mix. Ryan Madden. And if you look right now in your top 10, 4 of those drivers have gone to victory lane this season. Matthews, Scott, Baskinger, and Acevedo. 6 of them still looking for their first win. And right now, the top 7 are separated by a little bit more than 4 seconds. Chris Dodd, last time by, had a 1.85 second advantage between himself and Kyle Matthews. Matthews, rather than closing the gap up between himself and the 08, is actually seeming to lose some ground to Carson Scott, who's trying to reel him in for the runner-up spot. There goes Chris Dodd. So you've got Chris Dodd, then you got a group of 6 from Matthews back to Ryan Madden. Then there's Jake Baskinger, Grayson Acevedo, Nathan Hudson. Last week's winner, Zach Flickinger, up there now into the 11th position. Dallas McIntosh there in 12th. Richardson 13th, his teammate Cody Lamas 14th. Then you got William Brock 15th, 16th Austin Mongold, 17th Trent Dunham, Joshua Michaels 18th, Tellier 19th, and 20th place would be Dylan Young. I think somebody might have gone off track. No, they didn't. Cole Baker is scored 25th, and I think he might be the last car on the lead lap. I think everybody else is on pit road. Tim Walsh and Anthony McCurry, they're out of the race. Header and radiator problem for those two. And they join Joseph Srigley in the garage area. Those are the only three right now officially out of the race. And Chris Dodd loving what he's seen behind him. Kyle Matthews with a rear deck lid full of Carson Scott. We could have a battle right here in this corner for that second position. Boy, wearing out the back bumper of Kyle Matthews is Carson Scott, and he might get alongside him here. Not quite. Still trying. Oh, is he there? He's there. Wow. And he's going to try and get around the high side. Oh, he runs off the track a little bit, saves it, brings it back. But I think he just lost the spot again. Yes, he didn't. He may lose third place. He's going to possibly lose it to Marty Johnson, but Johnson's going to take this turn maybe wide. Nope, he kept it on the track, and now he'll have the preferred line, and he'll take the third position from Carson Scott. And now Carson Scott's in trouble because here comes John Gilbert. That is for the fourth position. Give it to Gilbert. Emmanuel Hartnett now going to try to take fifth place, and it looks like he'll get it. Heading down to turn one. So Carson Scott trying to get by Kyle Matthews for second. Now, half a racetrack later, finds himself all the way back in sixth place. Meanwhile, Chris Dodd still continuing to lead. Here's the battle for second. Ooh, some contact there between Marty Johnson and Kyle Matthews, but they make it work. Marty moves to the second spot, and Carson Scott trying to fight back. He just got around Emmanuel Hartnett, move him back to fifth place, and now John Gilbert all over the back bumper of Kyle Matthews. Now we'll have to see, with Marty Johnson having a slight distance between himself and this raging battle for third, if he'll be able to try reeling in Chris Dodd in the 08. But Kyle Matthews, surprised he's got any rear bumper left. First it was Carson Scott beating on it, now it's John Gilbert. Matthews, though, hanging on tough there to that third spot. Oh, this could be very sketchy. Yikes! And Gilbert steps out, and he'll take third place from Matthews. Matthews seemed willing to give it up. Hartnett now moves into the fifth spot. Here comes Ryan Madden looking for sixth off of Carson Scott. Cody Lamas is on pit road, and he was running well. So was Dylan Young, who's now coming off pit lane. Leon Alvarez also on the pit road, along with John Arndt. So something happened to those four. Not sure exactly what, but ooh, wow. Dallas McIntosh nearly getting into Nathan Hudson. That's a battle right now. I think that's for 11th place. Oh, almost off track. Ryan Madden hangs on to it. The advantage between Chris Dodd and Marty Johnson is almost 4 seconds, and now Chris Dodd has a lap machine between himself and the 20, that being the Miller Lite Ford of Dylan Young. 1 lap down, currently scored in the 23rd position. So things looking really good right now for Chris Dodd. And I'm not certain if they're going to have to make pit stops or not. That's another thing that I didn't consider. So Marty Johnson, before he can even start trying to think about reeling in Chris Dodd, he's got to catch the 2 car of Dylan Young and get by him, and we got a battle again. And Kyle Matthews tried getting around John Gilbert for third, and that's going to cost him. Ryan Madden now has thoughts about 4th place. Carson Scott in that mix as well. And as these guys are battling amongst themselves, Jake Baskinger and Grayson Acquito, Zach Flickinger, they've just kind of been riding, and they're about to reel in these guys. So we could have a number of other drivers trying to get up here into the top 5 momentarily. Marty Johnson has caught Dylan Young. Let's see if he tries making a move on him here into this corner. He's almost pushing him through the turn. Trying to look low, a bump and run there, tries to move him up the racetrack, and looks like he will succeed at least at getting alongside, and now Dylan Young having to give way. The damaged car not getting as much straightaway speed. And now Marty Johnson puts a lap machine between himself and now third place, John Gilbert. And now sets his sights on trying to catch the Oreo Chevrolet of Chris Dodd, who seemed to kind of mess up that corner just the least little bit. Chris Dodd's just got to hit his marks right now. Let's update, see if any other drivers are out of the race yet. Oh, there's a lot of them now. Jessica Shelton is out of the race, along with Daniel Voiles, Levi McIntyre, Joshua Zakuli, Michael Norman, and Zachary Fitzwater. So that's a total of 9 drivers at this point out of the race. Dylan Young's the only car a lap down in 23rd. Everybody else that's off the lead lap is 2 or more laps down. Alvari scored 24th, Benjamin Miles 25th, 26th, John Arndt 27th, Garrett Sidner, Charles Sanford 28th, Dylan Pote 29th, 30th, Cody Lamas, who now falls 3 laps down. Let's give you a full field rundown as they stand. Chris Dodd is the leader. 2nd place is Marty Johnson. 3rd place, John Gilbert. Kyle Matthews now 4th. Ryan Madden 5th. Emmanuel Hartnett runs in 6th. 7th is Jake Baskinger. 8th place, Grayson Acavito. 9th is Carson Scott. And last week's winner, Zach Flickinger, up here in 10th. Battle for 11th. Give it to Nathan Hudson. William Brock falls back to 12th. Now he'll fall back to 13th as 12th place now goes to Dallas McIntosh. 13th now goes to James Richardson, and Brock will fall back to 14th place. 15th is Trent Dunham. 16th, Austin Mongold. 17th, JT Bryant. Brandon Gonzalez runs 18th. 19th is Cole Baker. 20th, Kat Tellier. 21st place will be... well, it was Joshua Michaels, but he's now on the pit road. So 21st, I think, will now go to Sean Galligan, move Michaels back to 22nd. And I believe that's the last car on the lead lap is Sean Galligan. Chris Dodd, 5.13 seconds, the distance between himself and Marty Johnson last time. Let's see if that gap has closed up at all this time. At the line, it grew by 0.2. So Chris Dodd is not only keeping a distance between him and Marty Johnson, he is increasing it. He may have some difficulty in just a moment. Dylan Poteet scored 29th right now, 2 laps down, I do believe. That is indeed the case. May hold him up. We have another driver out of the race. Cody Lamas will retire officially in the 30th position. As Chris Dodd slowly reeling in Dylan Poteet, and we'll have to see how quick of work he can make with the 31 Crossley Chevrolet, because that could determine how much ground Marty Johnson will be able to make up. Marty Johnson has a distance between himself and John Gilbert, so he won't have to worry about battling with someone for a while. He can just concentrate on hitting his marks and reeling in the Oreo Chevrolet. And Chris is going to make a very easy pass here, it looks like, on Poteet. Well, I said easy. I thought it would be easy. Maybe not. Now he gets around him. That was close. Leader nearly got wrecked by a lap machine. But now he puts yet another lap car between himself and Marty Johnson. Johnson had a slight bit of difficulty getting around Dylan Young. Now he's got to deal with another Dylan in the form of Poteet. Got a nice battle going on here for 4th. Kyle Matthews, Ryan Madden, Emmanuel Hartnett, and there's Jake Baskinger as well. And Madden tries driving it deep there in turn 1. No dice, trying to get that 4th spot away from Kyle Matthews. Keep in mind, as we mentioned, Kyle Matthews came into this race tied for the points lead with Brandon Gonzalez. Right now he's running in 4th. Gonzalez is still on the lead lap, but he's all the way back in 18th. And the driver that was trying to reel them in, Anthony McCurry, out of the race. Whoa, Hartnett off track. Hangs on to it though, but this is going to lose him a number of spots on track. Loses one now to Flickinger. Here comes Carson Scott, Grayson Acavito. Whoa, they had to kind of slam on the brakes there to avoid running him over. How about at 15 of William Brock? Saw him get off track earlier and lose spots. He's battled back now up into the 11th position. Great run there for the Springfield Mile winner. Dallas McIntosh right there in 12th, and James Richardson hanging tough there in the 13th position. Actually, I believe he's now up to... No, he's not up to 12th. 1 year ago, this race weekend was run at Montreal. And it was Trent Dunham who took the checkered flag there. Right now, he's scored in the 15th position. So apparently this is a road course he seems to like as he's trying to get around Dylan Young. And he'll make the move here in the final corner on the 2 car. Now sets its sights on trying to pick up more positions. There's Nathan Hudson, of course, loves these road courses. Right now solidly in the 15th position. Oh, Jake Baskinger off track. He was running in 5th. And now he's going to drop all the way back to somewhere around 16th place. I think he'll be 17th, actually. Tough break there for him. There's another car I think I just saw off track. Oh, maybe not. Nope, nope. I'm just seeing things. Ryan Madden has moved up to 4th. And Marty Johnson has just now caught Dylan Poteet and will try getting by him. The lap machine, and looks like he'll make quick work. John Gilbert now going to try and do the same, as he's now also trying to reel in Marty Johnson for the runner-up spot, but everybody is chasing Chris Dodd, and nobody is having success in reeling him in. John Gilbert now having difficulty with getting around the lap machine of Dylan Poteet, as Chris Dodd is just turning laps. Let's take a lap around the road course with the Oreo Chevrolet, shall we? Puts it down to 2nd gear, not quite down to 1st. Around the paperclip right-hander. Back up through the gears before coming down to this heavy braking zone. You just hear him literally almost coasting halfway down this straightaway. About 60 miles per hour. Around the right-hander, uphill to the left-hander. Back on the brake again for this right-hander. A little bit of a bump right there. Car kind of jostles up in the air just a tiny bit. Another hard right-hander there. And then to one of the places where a lot of passing seems to be happening, right here in this corner. Another uphill right and then a hard left. And then through into the final circular right-hand turn before taking the lefty onto the front straightaway and back to the start-finish line. .444 the advantage in seconds between himself and Marty Johnson. Just grew another 10th, 7.5 seconds. Chris Dodd is putting on a clinic right now. Dodd has yet in this is his 2nd year, I should say, so we can technically say 1 2/3 years career in Hersheys Cup Series. He's yet to go to victory lane. Right now, I'd say the only person that's going to deny him a trip to victory lane would be himself if he makes a mistake. How about Zach Flickinger? Talk about a statement after his win last week at Yas Marina Circuit. This guy knows how to get around road courses. He's up to the 5th position now. Manuel Hartnett right there in 6th. Great run for him. We're going to be coming to a track pretty soon that he's a former winner at, Indianapolis. Kyle Matthews there in 7th. Richardson has worked his way up now to 8th. Acabito in 9th and Dallas McIntosh in 10th. Trent Dunham has worked his way to 11th. But here comes the Sega Chevrolet. Nathan Hudson working by William Brock. That is for position. Oh, there's some smoke right there. Did somebody spin? Sean Galligan's coming to pit road. Oh, yeah. Oh, he's smoking is the Lowe's Chevy. So, tough break for Galligan, who was running on the tail end of the lead lap in the 21st position. It looks like his day is over. This is the battle now for the 12th position between Nathan Hudson and William Brock. Brock's going to try the inside, coming down here into the paperclip turn. I don't have a clue what these turns are. And I'm not even going to attempt to try and figure it out. And Brock will clear Hudson, so move him back to 12th. From Flickinger on back, that's where the battling's going on. Flickinger, Hartnett, Matthews, Richardson. Throw the lap machine of Dylan Poteet into the mix along with Grayson Acavito and Dallas McIntosh. And Trent Dunham also starting to get into this mix as well. Richardson goes a little wide through that corner. That's going to cost him. He's trying to get around Poteet, it looks like. And Acavito will also follow in turn. Now he thinks about going after Richardson. That would be for the 8th position. Ignition problem for the 48 of Sean Galligan, and Carson Scott, our outside pole sitter, is out of the race. I wonder if maybe the skid marks we saw and that white puff of smoke might have been from him, because he was running really well. He was running up here near the front. Boy, tough break there for Carson Scott, who was looking to have a good day here. Had one of the fastest cars in qualifying, just second to this guy, Chris Dodd, who next time by will be receiving a hand with all 5 fingers outstretched. It's not a wave saying, "Hi, how you doing?" It's indicating 5 laps to go. Almost 8 seconds, the gap between himself and Marty Johnson. Chris Dodd was fast in qualifying. I'm not certain they did anything to change that race car at all, because he's been fast here in race. Let's actually see who's had the fastest lap. Wow. We didn't even have a driver hit the 129s in practice, or in qualifying rather, and William Brock, fastest car on track, fastest lap at 129.909. JT Bryant, second fastest with a 130.424, and then our race leader Chris Dodd's fastest lap at 130.494, third fastest on the charts. Then you've got Dallas McIntosh, 4th, Richardson 5th, Marty Johnson 6th, Garrett Sidner 7th, then Flickinger, Lamas, and Trent Dunham. That's your top 10 fastest speeds so far in this session. That time, the advantage grew again by about 0.4. Yeah, 7.9 last time, 8.3 this time. Marty Johnson, he's got nobody to contend with right now, but he's just not able to run the track as well as Chris Dodd. And Chris Dodd, I mean, the pressure was off him almost since the drop of the green flag. They were more battling for second than they were for the lead, and Dodd, since then, has just been hitting his marks. That onboard lap that we took with him, you could see he was hitting his marks perfectly. He wasn't rushing anything. He wasn't overrunning any of the corners, just doing what he's got to do. John Gilbert solidly in 3rd. Ryan Madden solidly in 4th. Manuel Hartnett starting to create some distance here to hold 5th place, as Kyle Matthews now has James Richardson and Zach Flickinger on his back bumper. Matthews has been the one guy, it seems, all day long that has had to fight for every position. They have been all over his back bumper. Get a little relief here is now Zach Flickinger looking to pass James Richardson. That would be for 7th. And as soon as I say that, Richardson now coming back onto Kyle Matthews' back bumper. Matthews, I think, just wants to finish, because as I said before this race even started, I believe that this season's chase for the championship, it's going to come down to the drivers with wins running the best in the point stands that are going to be making the 16-driver chase grid. Kyle Matthews came into today's race tied for the points lead. So, with him running where he is right now, he would leave with the points lead. That means he'd be in position number 1 in overall standings, and that would put him as the number 1 seed of the one-time race winners this season. Since we have only had 4 other multiple race winners, one of which is being outside the top 30 in points, so let's make it actually 3 multiple race winners this season. That would take the first 3 seeds. Kyle Matthews would then be in line for slot number 4. Oh boy, and he nearly found some tire barriers there, courtesy of the front bumper of the FedEx Toyota. That was a little close for comfort. As things stand, Charles Sanford would get the first seed, being a 3-time winner. Benjamin Miles, Zachary Fitzwater, they would get the next 2 being 2-time winners. And then Kyle Matthews would stand to get the 4th slot, highest in the points with 1 win. Be interesting to find out if he can hold on to the lead and win it, if Chris Dodd, where he would be situated after this as far as the chase grid. Don't have a picture of the point standings handy right now for me to be able to look at to find out where Chris Dodd is currently situated in the points as far as where he's situated amongst other one-time winners. But if he can close the deal here, which I'll be very surprised if he doesn't, then he's going to have quite a task on his hands of trying to have some consistent runs in the next 2 weeks to have himself in the hunt for a slot in the championship battle. It'll be 2 laps to go next time by, and he's about to come around and get that. 9.2 seconds back to Marty Johnson. Marty Johnson has finished runner-up, I believe, 1 other time. I'm trying to remember where it was. If memory serves me correctly, it was back at Pocono. I believe he finished runner-up to rookie Kyle Keith then. John Gilbert, this I think going to be his best finish of the season, if he can hang on to 3rd. I believe up to this point his best finish was 8th, I believe, which was back at his debut race of Martinsville. Ryan Madden, solid outing for him right now in the 4th position, and Emmanuel Hartnett looks like he will more than likely hang on for 5th place. They are battling behind him again. Kyle Matthews, Flickinger, Richardson, Dallas McIntosh, William Brock, Grayson Acavito, and Trent Dunham all in that mix. As we'll look and see if anybody else were last-minute retirees. No. 27 cars on the racetrack and 18 of them on the lead lap. Nathan Hudson, the last car on the lead lap. As there's Richardson. This is for the 7th position. Not going to be able to make the move this time. Might try it here in this corner. He's got McIntosh all over his back bumper. Here he comes, trying the inside. Flickinger gets off track just the least little bit. And they're side by side again for P7. Richardson complete the pass. Will Flickinger be able to hang on? Oh, that might be a bad corner for Richardson. Oh, contact with Dallas McIntosh, and here comes William Brock up the middle. Are they? Oh, I thought they were going to try 3 wide into that corner. That would have been a death sentence for all 3 drivers. Oh, man. White flag has been displayed for Chris Dodd as the battling continues behind him from about the 7th position on back. Well, now it's settled to about 8th place on back. Matthews and Flickinger opening some distance. Brock in 8th, McIntosh 9th, Richardson 10th, Acavito 11th, Trent Dunham 12th. Those guys are going to continue to fight. And Ryan Madden trying to reel in John Gilbert, but I don't think he's close enough to battle for 3rd. Likewise, I don't think Gilbert's going to get close enough to battle for 2nd with Marty Johnson, but nobody's going to get close enough to Chris Dodd here. Chris Dodd just got to make a mistake-free lap. He's done it 20 or 19 times. I think he'll do it here for this 20th. Here he comes down to the uphill right-hander onto the left. Final few turns of this racetrack. Chris Dodd had to win a tiebreaker against Carson Scott to start on the pole. He'll lead all 20 laps. He dominates this race, and he will, for the first time in his Hersheys Cup Series career, be going to victory lane. Where will this put him in the potential chase for the championship? Checkered flag. Chris Dodd wins at Mid Ohio. That is the 4th team win in Hersheys Cup Series history for CJ Racing, but the first for the team owner. What a great job there by Chris Dodd. Kind of an under-the-radar guy heading into knockout qualifying, but man, he put himself to the forefront when he grabbed the pole, and even more so with this dominating performance today. And now, based on wherever he came into this race in the point standings, this win, we'll have to see if that puts him in a position to contend for one of the 16 spots in this season's chase for the championship. And now, as well, I know for certain Chris Dodd came into this race in the top 30 in points. We have 17 different race winners in the top 30 in the points. Things are going to get really tight in the regular season finale. Don't know if standings are official yet or not. Indeed they are. So Chris Dodd with the win, 9.5 seconds over Marty Johnson. John Gilbert will finish in 3rd. Great run for those two go-or-go homers, especially with how this week it was so tough for go-or-go homers to make the race. Ryan Madden in 4th, Emmanuel Hartnett 5th. Kyle Matthews, give that guy a gold star and a new bumper. He'll finish in 6th. Zach Flickinger will get 7th. Great follow-up run to his road course win last week at Yas Marina Circuit. William Brock gets 8th. 9th for James Richardson. How about Trent Dunham? 1 year ago he went to victory lane. This week, 1 year ago, he gets a top 10. So he's doing really well at these road courses. Dallas McIntosh will get 11th, 12th. Grayson Acovito. JT Bryant battled back for 13th. Jake Baskinger in 14th. And Brandon Gonzalez will finish 15th. Cole Baker and Kat Tellier were the last two cars to finish on the lead lap in 16th and 17th place. Dylan Young finished the only car a lap down. He'll get 18th. Leon Alvarez 19th. Garrett Sidner in 20th. John Arndt, Charles Sanford, Benjamin Miles, Joshua Michaels, Austin Mongold, Nathan Hudson, and Dylan Poteet were the last cars to finish the race down through 27th, and then everybody else finished out of the race. Outside pole sitter Carson Scott in 28th. Anthony McCurry 3rd in the points, 32nd place. Levi McIntyre, another poor showing for the 99 car in 35th. Joshua Sekuli, his chances for getting into the top 30 in points, that may have been the nail in the coffin. Who knows? 36th place out of the race for him. Zachary Fitzwater, 2-time winner. Poor run for him in 38th, and Joseph Srigley finishing out of the race in 39th. So, tell you what, I don't know if we can count Kyle Keith or Joshua Sekuli back in the picture for a chase spot, because both of them really needed good runs here today. Keith didn't even make the race, and Sekuli ended up finishing out of the race in, what was it officially, 36th. So, boy, they got a real uphill climb here in the next 2 races, and I don't think 2 races is enough for them to be able to overcome the points deficit they had coming into this race, let alone the amount they've now increased onto it with DNQing and DNFing here today. So, Chris Dodd, where does this put him in the championship picture? We'll see, as we will be showing you now your rookie point stands and your overall points heading into next week's event. Next 2 races on the schedule. Race 25 will be coming live from Kentucky Speedway for knockout qualifying and your main event there. And then the regular season finale takes place at the restrictor plate track of M&M's Super Speedway. A little bit of a fun fact, the defending race winner of that track was Cody Lamas. Defending race winner of Kentucky was Benjamin Miles, 2-time winner of the season. So we'll see if history can repeat itself for one of those 2 drivers. Miles looking for his 3rd win of the season, and Cody Lamas looking for his 1st of the season. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in to today's race here from Mid Ohio. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give us a video, like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. Again, we'll show you full finish results on down through 39th place. And we will see you guys next week at Kentucky. As you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing Best.